Welcome to Microsoft Office. We're going to get started with showing you around how to be successful each week when you do a SAM assignment, and I'll explain SAM. So for example, first, open up the textbook, and this is your online textbook that has all the content that I'm going to walk through in the videos. But it's really good to have the book up while you watch the videos so that you can see the step-by-step. For example, in Module 1 of Word, we're going to create this flyer. But please don't just look at this flyer and kind of guess what size it is. We're using all kinds of new Microsoft tools to do this flyer. So what you're going to do is open Word, enter the text in the document. So there is a step-by-step in this book to help you get started. So they first show you how to open Word, how to show the paragraph symbol, all the steps. Another piece to be successful in our course is there are other videos beside mine each week. For example, if you click SAM Training Word Module 1, these videos rock. And what these videos are very different than mine walks through the whole first textbook project. Instead, it takes you step by step through all the different things you're going to learn. And we call these SAM Pass. So all you have to do is click Start. You can come and use these repeatedly, not just once. So before you have your test, any part, and piece. So look right here. These are the 55 tasks taught in Module 1. That'll be on your first test. So for example, if you look through this and go, I've never changed the margins in Word. You could click Change the Margins. First, there's an Observe video, a practice, and then an Apply. So let me hit Observe.
You can change the margins of a document using a preset option such as normal, moderate, narrow, wide, and mirrored.
So you'll listen to them
Click the
go
Layout
through it.
tab on the ribbon. In the Page Setup group, click the Margins button.
Now you first watch them
the
do
Margins
it,
gallery
and then you can practice doing it to make sure you understood that. For example, it just tells you what to
can change
do.
the margins of a document using a preset option such as normal, moderate, narrow, wide, and mirrored. Click the Layout tab on the
now
ribbon.
I'm clicking the Layout tab to
In
make
the
sure I
Page
know where that
Setup
is, and Margins.
The Margins
And then you can do it with just the directions. It says change the document's margins to the normal settings. By clicking the wrong place, of course, it won't be correct. So this said to do normal settings, so it tells me I've completed the task. And you can watch these tasks over and over again. And if you miss something on your SAM project, then you could come back here and see what you've missed. So these are super helpful. Now let's get started with this week's assignment and how to open it. What you'll do first is come under the week that you're on and go to, first of all, the SAM textbook project. Always do the textbook project before you do the project, let's say 1A, because this is not a step-by-step. It's expecting that you've already done this one. So I'm going to click right here on this project. This project is going to be automatically graded, and you get 2 times to turn it in. We keep the better grade in ITE 152. Each week, you're going to do these 3 steps when you do a SAM. And what SAM stands for is Skills Assessment Modifications. So first, you'll come down and download the starter file. Never, ever start with a blank Word document. You must use this one because this one is encoded with your name, your information. Now, SAM does check to see if you did all the work. For example, if you copied and pasted from like an online document or from a friend's document, it would send me an email that you've plagiarized, cheated on the document, and of course you would receive a 0 and could get kicked out of the course. So this is why we use this to make sure you do your work, which is always awesome to make sure, and it gives you instant feedback after you submit it later. You're going to find exactly what you missed, and you can fix it through a beautiful report that it shows you, and then just fix your errors. You don't have to retype it all over again, and then resubmit it. So first, open this start document, and it'll download on your PC or your Mac. You cannot use a Chromebook in this class because they don't have full Word. It opens it in your fully installed Word. If you haven't installed Word, please install it to your PC and Mac so you can get started. And this looks like a blank document, but notice it's got your name in it. So therefore, this is all encoded with all of your information. It won't let you submit a regular blank document. You must use this starter file is what this is called. You'll need these 2 pictures later, so click on them to download them. And if you're using a Mac, we have separate instructions for you right here to use. If you're using a PC, here's your project instructions so you know what to do. But basically, you're going to be opening your textbook so you know step by step how to do the project. You're going to go through the entire 60 pages of your textbook project to get going here. So in other words, it's saying you're going to be creating this flyer, and you're going to go page by page through the instructions and do every single step. In my video, I'll also do these same steps so you can create it with me together. So first it says click View on the ribbon to display the View tab. So you would open your starter file, click on the View tab to get started and go through all the steps here. Now, after you finish the entire project using the instructions in the book, you're going to save the project as this expected file name. And I would recommend highlighting it, right-click and pick Copy, and then go to Word and go to File, Save As, and save it locally on your computer with that file name, or it won't let you submit it. Don't try to type it in because you'll most likely make a typo. So now that we have this file name saved, save it locally on your computer, and you are going to drag or drop or click to browse the files. So you're going to go find this file on your computer, maybe in the downloads folder, there it is, and you're going to submit it right here. You get 2 submissions. So the first time you submit it, it says you can go to your graded report, and here's a study guide. Now, when you open your graded report, it's really detailed. Now, I didn't really type anything in, so it's going to really fuss at me. I missed everything. But I just wanted to show you how detailed the report looks like. Now you can go back and fix these items that you may have missed. Save it again. Don't forget that part. And then resubmit it into SAM right here again to get your second time that you turn it in. And you'll get a second report to see what you've missed. If you don't understand what you've missed after your first report, I recommend going under announcements and going to our virtual tutoring center. You can email Michael Mavinga, and he can meet you online or face-to-face, and he can go over the report with you to see exactly what you've missed. If you don't have a PC, don't forget, you can get a loaner PC. And don't forget, here's all the information about getting your online book. So watch the rest of this video to get started with your flyer. So here we go. I'm going to make sure I log into my cloud account that you guys created in your first week of assignments. You went to the outlook.com or to create your email address there. So I'm going to make sure I'm logged into that so I can save automatically. So I can go to File, Save As, go to my OneDrive to save what I am doing as I go along, and it will automatically save up here. Now you can also save locally to your computer to turn it in. We'll do that at the end. So let me first show you around the Word window that you need to understand. This area at the top is called the ribbon. And the ribbon is where all of your tools are. And the ribbon can hide on you. Look where my mouse is over here on the far right. If you click right there, the ribbon kind of hides. And then if you click back in that same space, you can get that ribbon to open back up for you with that little arrow or a double click on any of these tabs. When I go to tell you where to do something in Word, you'll click on the Home tab, or let's say the Insert tab. That's what these top row is called. And I might say go to the Insert tab, go to the Illustrations group. The bottom of the ribbon is called a group. And then the tool. For example, maybe click on Picture to add a picture. So in this ribbon, we can select any of the tools. Some of the tools don't pop up until you're in it. For example, let's say I add a picture. It will then switch the ribbon. Let me show you. If I were to pick a picture, for example, from Online Pictures, I could go pick a picture right now, let's say an apple, put it in here, and look, I now have a new tab at the top that deals with picture format. We call this a contextual tab because it shows up when I'm working on the ribbon and in context. Let me delete that. So one of the first things we're going to do to get started here is we want to make sure that you have adjusted your margins for the flyer. So to do that, your first thing you're going to do is click on the Layout tab at the top of Microsoft Word. And we're going to click this very first tool in the Page Setup group called Margins. It turns out I want a lot of space to make my good looking flyer here about washing your hands. So right now it's set to normal, which means 1 inch on top, left, bottom, right of the sheet of paper. But I want more space in that, so I'm going to make it narrow. So it's going to be a 1/2 inch at the top, 1/2 inch left, bottom, and right. So everyone click narrow. First step, ready to roll. Hey, next thing that we're going to do is we're going to begin to type our text. And what we want to do when we type our text is I want to type in capital W, and notice how high we are up, wash your hands. Now, and put an exclamation point at the end. That's called a headline. That's going to be at the top of your flyer. I'm going to go ahead and make my screen by coming down the bottom right a little bit larger. You can leave yours at 100%, but I'm trying to allow you to make it easier for you guys to see. So I have wash your hands right there. And now I'm going to press the Enter key to move my insertion point to the next line. Notice this big gap in between. That's because Microsoft Word by default puts a big space between different paragraphs. Next, I want to change my page width a little bit. So I can go up to the View tab and I can come to the Zoom group and change my page width right here. And by changing my page width, I can make sure that my page is as large as it is right now. So that's good. So click page width. That makes the whole page fill up your screen so you can see a little bit easier. And the next thing we're going to do is display formatting marks. And you should be following along the book right now so you can read and hear me as well. So hey, now let's go to the Home tab. Let me explain these formatting marks. It makes it a lot easier when you're creating a document to see where you've skipped blank spaces, where you've put extra spaces, where you've skipped lines. So to do that, we're always going to turn this on in Word. It's under the Home tab in the paragraph group. Hit this backwards P. Notice it says Show Hide. This is called IntelliSense to kind of tell you what this tool does. It shows paragraph marks and other hidden formatting. Now notice when I click it, I now have one to say that I've ended the paragraph right there and started a new fresh paragraph right there. Notice between wash your hands, there's a little dot to show there's one single space to make sure we did things properly. So next, we're going to type in the sentence, and don't forget, do not copy and paste it, or it's not going to work later when you go to turn it in. So type in washing your hands with soap and water can decrease outbreaks of food-borne illness because it can prevent spreading germs from your hands to food. And feel free to stop this video at any time and kind of catch up and then keep on going. I want to explain what just happened. It's something called word wrap. It means it couldn't fit the rest of this after spreading, so it automatically went down to the next line. For example, if yours didn't space like that, you probably don't have the margins turned on. So go back in the video and make sure your margins are right. So you don't have to watch me type. I just typed in all the text through figure 1-34. So now I have it all typed in. Microsoft thinks it's faster to first type in and then apply formatting. And you say, well, what will it look like? Well, if you've looked in the book, it'll look like this. So let's get started on our formatting. So first thing we're going to do is change the document theme. And to do that, we can do so by going to under the Design tab to Themes. But before we change that theme, let me show you something that's pretty important here. The theme that it starts out with is called the Office theme. If I were to go under Home and look at the color, these are the standard colors. Think blue, orange, gray, gold, blue, and green. But a lot of companies want a good theme. Think of like Target in Lynchburg or Target, right? It's got the color red, the bullseye, the block font. That all is called a theme or their design. So now when I go under Design and click Themes, I can roll my mouse and look at different themes. The one I ultimately am going to pick is scroll down a little bit till you find Slate. Slate is more than a different font. It actually, look at the colors on that little tab. It has like rust and golds and browns and grays. So now when I pick the theme, not only when I go to the Home tab has my font changed from the initial Calibri size 11 to Callisto, when I go to the colors, oh my goodness, all the colors have changed entirely. So a theme does a lot to your document. Now next, let's select our headline. Wash your hands, exclamation point is that headline. What I'm going to do to select it is triple click. So take your mouse and tap 3 times, 1, 2, 3. It'll highlight that whole first line, headline, or paragraph. What I want to do to that is center it. Center is located under the Home tab, paragraph, the second set of lines. There we go. And I'll do the same to the second paragraph. Let me triple click, 1, 2, 3. Everything's selected. Come up here and click center as well. What else are we going to do? Well, I want you now to go back and select the headline, 1, 2, 3. And now we can, right now it's size 11, that's way too small. Let me click the down arrow for font size and change it to 36. Now we can kind of see that. I also want to change the name of the font from Callisto to something called Rockwell Extra Bold. And you'll be glad to know these are in alphabetical order. So as we get down to the R's for Rockwell Extra Bold, you can pick that one. Boy, that really stands out. And I don't want it to be the sentence case of a capital W, capital Y, and a capital H. I want it all uppercase. Don't retype it. Instead, we're going to try to use this tool under the Home tab and font called Change Case. And I'm going to switch it to uppercase. And make sure you use this tool. For example, Sam, the grading engine, would mark that wrong if you typed it all in caps. You have to follow the directions that are given. Hey, what else? I want to show you something pretty cool. It's this tool right here. This is called Text Effects in Typography. We're going to apply a preset text effect to the selected text. And when I scroll around, do you see I have all these cool ones? We're going to go with this one. Second line, fourth one over. Look at the whole little text there, fill, white, outline, brown, accent color 1, glow, brown, accent color 1. Please understand that's just one click, not like 5 different settings. So now that I've got that there, let's go ahead and shade that headline. What shade means, it's this paint bucket in the paragraph grouping under the Home tab. If I hit this down arrow right here, I get the same colors from my theme. I'm going to select this color right here. It's called Brown Accent 4, darker 25%. Make sure you select that one exactly, or yeah, the Sam Grade engine will mark that wrong too. So be super careful. And what else? I now want to go down and select the second paragraph by triple clicking. There we go. And what I want to do now is change the font size. Well, first the color. I'm going to drop down the font color, not the background, the font. That's the big letter A here. And I'm going to pick this darker red accent 5, darker 25%. I'm also going to change the font size to size 22. Looks good. Now that I have this, I'm going to go ahead and now select all the lines from how all the way down to after handling dirty equipment or garbage. Let go. We're not highlighting that last line. So from how all the way down, what we want to do here is change the font, in this case, to size 20. Looks good. And I'm going to highlight now from wet hands through dry hands, all the way to this last period. I want this to be numbered 1 through 5, like 5 how points. So I'll click on this 1, 2, 3 for numbering. It's in the paragraph grouping. And voila, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can also, as I go down through here, let's go ahead and apply a list of bullets. I'm going to do it for the whens from before to garbage. And bullets are a dot in front of something to kind of really describe when to wash your hands in a bulleted list. So I'm going to click right here under the Home tab paragraph group on bullets. And now this is really coming along. Hey, next, head to figure 1-64 in the book. And notice this is hyperlinked. So that means it would be great in an online document to open that web page, but I don't want it to be a hyperlink. So I'm going to right click on this and select about halfway down, remove hyperlink. So now when I click on it, it won't open to that page. Okay, let's click somewhere in the very last line. The last line of an item is called the signature line. So this line, visit www.foodworkers.com, is called our signature line. And let's go ahead and hit center just to get that centered. And let's change the text. We can click 3 times in front, 1, 2, 3. And this is called a mini toolbar. We could be using this as well. It's the same as the ribbon. It's just a little bit closer sometimes. Let's just change this to size 18 using that little mini toolbar right there. I also want to change the font color. So I'm going to drop that little mini toolbar down and change it to that same red that we used on the second paragraph, red accent 5, darker 25%. Now I'm going to highlight the words additional hand washing tips, not the period. Be careful. Additional hand washing tips. And now that I have that selected, I'm going to come up and click underline the U in the Home tab font grouping to get that underlined as well. I'm also going to italicize some text. Let me find this word prevent, just the word prevent, nothing extra. Let's go ahead and hit italicize. It's the slanted I in the font group. And let's go ahead and select the word wet. It's in number 1 under how. What I'm going to do with all of those is I want the first word of all those 5 bullets. I want them to be in bold. Well, I don't want to do it separately. If I hold down the Control key and then highlight lather, scrub, rinse, and dry, and then let go of the control key, I can highlight them all at once. Let me now, after I've selected all 5, click B for bolding those text. So that's a quick way to select non-adjacent text. Woo! Okay, coming along great. So when I click back, I can see this support file. I'm about to put this image in my document, but let me show you how to download it. Just click on the support file. It'll just get downloaded. It usually on a PC gets downloaded to your folder right down here. You may see it's up to which browser you're using. This usually goes in your download folder. So you don't need to open it, but I will just show it to you real quick. Here's what you just downloaded. So it's someone washing their hands. Let me show you how to put it in your document. So I'm going to open the document back up. I'm going to scroll down after dry hands. There's this blank line between dry and when. First of all, I'm going to center that line so the picture, once I put it in, will center as well since I click center. Now let's insert that picture. Let's go to Insert, Pictures, and we're going to go to this device and go under Downloads. And there's my support WD1 washing hands. Now when I first put it in, it's definitely pretty large here. So I am going to format that a little bit so I don't have such a large picture. And I want to make sure I can see the whole page. So I'm going to come down here at the bottom. There's this arrow that zoom in and zoom out. I'm going to keep hitting my minus sign down here until I can see my whole page or pages. Uh-oh. Right now this thing is so big I'm on 2 pages, and a flyer should always be just 1 page. So we want to resize this object proportionally so that it doesn't look all askew. So what we can do right here is click on our sizing handles. Those are these little circles on the corners of my picture, and keep resizing it until it's perfectly, if that last line, visit www Food Workers, will get on this page. Oh, there we go. So now we have it scaled proportionally. So now we know it's just right. Now we want to change the picture style. Let me make this zoom, hit the plus sign down here to make it a little bit larger. Click back on that picture if you're not. Let's now apply something called a picture style. Let me show you what a picture style is. As I hover over these different picture styles, I get different looks, like this circle or this square. The one I ultimately want to pick is, let's find this one. I want to go with snip diagonal corner. So let's keep looking until we find snip diagonal corner and white. There we go. That's the one we want. So I'm going to click right there. And now the picture looks a lot more professional. It doesn't look just like it was plopped there in a square way. Love that. I want to do one more thing to my picture. It's still selected, so I'm going to go under Picture Effects. These are different cool like shadows and reflections and glows. I'm going to pick Reflection. And once, no, I think I'll pick Shadow. I'll pick Shadow right here. And then scroll down to this very first one under Perspective. It's called Perspective Upper Left. And notice it puts this really cool shadow behind the picture, which makes look like a professional design company put it in and nothing else. Now let's go and enhance this page a little bit more. I've decided that the brown is just not working with wash your hands. Color means something. If you see red, it usually means passion or romance. If you see purple, it means royalty. In this case, wash your hands should probably have something to do with blue, right? So what I'm going to ultimately do is click on the Design tab, and I want to change my theme, not the whole theme, but my theme color only. So I'm going to come over here to Theme Colors, and I'm going to go down, and if you notice as I go down, do you see the colors changing here? I'm going to pick Blue 2. It looks like a Roman numeral 2, and look at my palette. And my palette hasn't just changed here and made it kind of a green blue everywhere. It's changed anytime I go back to my colors. Do you see my new theme colors? I also want to add a page border. To do that, let me go back to design, and the page borders are way over here on the right. I'm going to click page borders. I think what I'm going to pick here is this one called box. I'm going to scroll down to styles, and I'm going to pick the one, if I keep scrolling down here, this one's a little hard to find. After I get to these, the style that I want is where the dark line is on top. So this one right here. And I want to change the color of the border to this color. Let me make sure I get the right one right here. It's the fourth over. It's this one right here. Turquoise accent 3, darker 25%. So now I have that selected. Let me change the width. Make sure it is 3 point. It is. And the art is none. So all is happy. Let me click OK. And does everybody see my nice edging all around my flyer? Now this next item is the most missed item. So really tune in. I think you're starting to see if you went to a Google high school, Google is very lightweight compared to what's really used typically in business. About 89% of businesses today use Microsoft Office. So this is kind of the heavy duty tools. This is our easiest assignment. We're going to get into a lot heavier tools than flyers, of course. But let's go to how now. And I want you to triple click how to select the paragraph. We're going to go to the layout tab because I want to do something to change the spacing before and after paragraphs. This way, the flyer spacing will look more balanced with the spacing adjusted above and below the paragraphs that I'm going to fool with. So notice I'm going to go under layout and spacing. It's in this paragraph. I want the spacing to be above this and below this at each 0. So I need to change this 8 point. I could type a 0 or hit these down arrows until they say 0. I don't know if you noticed it, but now it's a little bit tighter right here. It looks a little bit better. I'm now also going to change the spacing in front of when. So let's triple click on when. And what I want to do there is also make sure it's 0 so it looks more balanced. So let me make sure that's 0. And as you can see, I'm still going on to my second page. So let me make sure this picture is just a tad smaller. You want to make sure that last page is showing up here because you never want a 2-page flyer. And then I'm going to go back to my very last line. I want you to go to the last line, this visit. So I'll triple click. And I want to make sure the spacing there is 12 and 8. So let me do the before spacing, to be 12. Make sure that's 12 and 8 above and below. If this line's not on your flyer, change the size of your picture to make sure it fits in there. Hey guys, we now want to go under something called the document properties. I want you to click on the File tab. This displays something called the Backstage View. And we're going to come on down here. Let's go to the Info tab on the left. This tells me how long you've been editing a document, all this information. I want you to go under Comments right here to the right and type CIS 101 assignment. I know that's not our class, but we're going to do the one that Sam wants us to do there. So now we'll know what assignment this is. And I now want to make sure it's saved. If you have it on auto-saved, you won't have to hit save again. If you don't have it on auto-save, please click this little save to make sure all your changes are there. Now, to close this document, we can go to the File tab and hit Close. But I now want to reopen that document. And the way to do that is to reopen Word down here at the bottom. And when I go to Open Word, I can now go to Open and go to SCWD1, Wash Hands Flyer Formatted. And we should be able to reopen the document. So last couple things we're going to do is I want you to make just a couple little changes. In the real world, you will. I want you to click in front of the A and apply, right after that space. We're going to put the word then right here. People edit, they proofread, they make changes. Always proofread through your document before you submit it to SAM. You may have forgotten punctuation, spelling is wrong. It will mark off. So put then space apply. Sometimes we even want to delete something. So let's go click back on then. We'll double click and we can now hit the delete key. I decided against the then. So you can cut it, delete it. We also may want to copy and paste. Let's come down here to the word clean. Highlight the word clean, not the comma. We can come up to the ribbon under the Home tab and find these 2 sheets of paper called Copy. And let me highlight the word clean and then hit Copy. I decided in front of dry hands while using a clean towel would sound better. So I'm going to now paste it here. Make sure there's a space between clean towel. And I can also move text. So what I'd like you to do is go down to the second sentence that has to do with before, during, and after preparing food. Let's, in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to copy this text and now click and drag it before after eating. Now, before comes before after eating, which would make more sense if you look at the paragraphs. So by releasing the mouse, we now have. I want to show you the read mode here at the bottom. If you scroll to the very bottom of the screen, look where I'm pointing the bottom right down here. I can click the read mode. It just makes it a little bit easier to read this document, makes it larger for people to visualize. And now I can switch it back to the print layout, which is right down here at the bottom. Let's make sure you save. If you've been auto-saving, it's been saving the whole time. Otherwise, it's saved. Before we submit it to help, I want you to go to File, Save a Copy, and save it on your PC as well with the same name. So that way you can submit that copy to the local PC. One thing, let me tell you a big secret. At the top here, this is called the Tell Me box. For example, if I typed in margins, it will tell me where to adjust the margins right here. So it's a really great, powerful tool to know about that Tell Me box. We also have a help pane. So at any point in time, we can click help in the ribbon to get a little more help right here. So different ways to get a little help as you go. Guys, thank you. Hopefully mind is blown. At this point, you would go back to SAM and now you would hit continue. You would upload that file and it will immediately give you a response back. So you can turn in your second attempt. You don't have to retype the whole thing. You'll just fix the errors. And believe me, believe what it has to say. Okay, guys? Good luck. Let me know if I can help you as you move along. Take care, guys.